what can we evaluate in our life? We can evaluate our business,
Our personal life.
definitely our personal life, even within our business, the relationships we have, whether it's outside or inside the shop or outside.
I mean, as artists, creating those relationships and maintaining those relationships with their clients is important. I think one way a lot of artists have changed that is that, especially like what I have been doing is I've been trying to contact my clients after I tattoo them, where before I wouldn't do it as much.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And we're back to a new episode of the IQ Project. Welcome back this week. I'm right here with my co-host Ricky Tat.
Yo, what's up?
And my name is Josh. So today we got an interesting podcast for you guys about reevaluating yourself and your life and your business.
I'm reevaluating our companions. They're not showing up. What's going on here? Might have to
third chair, fourth chair.
It was just us two today, or what?
Yeah, I haven't seen them in a while.
Might have to recruit some new people, man. I don't know.
So as you guys can see, we're evaluating a lot because you can see our table, thanks to Carlos.
Yeah.
Carlos is in charge of this whole podcast, so he decided to add a little color to it. What do you guys think?
I don't personally like it, but hey, I guess I'm not the boss here. I guess Carlos is the boss for the podcast. What do you think, Carlos? Why did you do this, Carlos?
The table needs a little bit of color.
Oh, you got a mic today. Nice.
Yeah, he's gonna be. So I guess we do have a third guy, but oh well.
People were like asking, like, what does Carlos sound like? His voice, it sounds so amazing. I want to see how he looks.
Yeah,
but he never posts himself on his profile.
Yeah, I don't have to.
It's that soothing voice.
Yeah. So,
how's your week today? It was just Easter.
It's Easter.
Did you get fucking drunk last night or what?
I did get drunk.
Yeah,
it was cool. Hanged out with all my cousins. Actually met a guy there. I guess he's Misael's friend, our cousin Misael, and he was a big dude. Worked out and whatever, and he had a big tattoo, and it was really high contrast darks, and it turned out to be Mario Inks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he got it tattooed like 2 years ago.
Nice.
So met him. It was pretty cool people. Shout out to Delicioso Eats on Instagram. We chopped it up for a while. We had a lot
he's
in
the one that
common.
opened the restaurant right there, no?
No, from what he was telling me, he didn't open up a restaurant. He had a kitchen, like he was like renting a kitchen or something.
Oh, okay. I think Mario posted someone that opened a restaurant right here. Sounds like that.
Yeah, he was like subleasing or something. He was telling me about it, but it's crazy because we chopping it up. We had a lot in common. He works for school district. He was around my age, so it was pretty cool. Met somebody cool, out in the wild about tattoos. So other than that, and then I got drunk. I don't remember a lot of it, and then fucking allergies. Right now's the time, so I'm going through it.
Drunk to forget about the allergies, or
no? I just got drunk because I was in the vibe, and I drank those Modelo Oros.
Never heard of them.
You ever heard of Modelo Oros?
I don't really drink, so
bullshit. Yeah, you drink, fool. Modelo Oros are like ultras.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're just from Modelo. It's like light beer.
Yeah. About you, Carlos? What'd you do
For Easter?
Yeah.
No, we just hanged out at my wife's grandparents' house. That was about it. It was pretty chill.
What'd you do?
I slept, and then
You didn't work on Sunday?
Nah, I ended up getting rescheduled, so I ended up sleeping in, and then we just had a little barbecue right there at the house.
Oh yeah,
with Gary's family. Chased around Mason with the eggs. That's about it.
Dude, they must have had like 300 eggs, dude.
God damn.
Yeah, there was a lot of kids, and so everybody brought some.
Yeah.
And I was putting some dollars in some of them. I put like $5 in some of them. Put one $10 in there so they can find it. But hey, they all had baskets, bro.
Yeah.
There's probably more like 600 eggs. It was a lot of eggs. Yeah. But there was like 20 kids. So it's cool. Moving on. Next fucking holiday.
Did you have a slow week this week?
What did I do this week? I think I only tattooed 3 times. I think that's where I'm gonna keep it right now. 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a lot with my kids. So,
Mm.
but yeah, sometimes we gotta reevaluate our lifestyle and the way we work.
Yeah, I mean, you went from fucking working 5 days to 3 days now.
Yeah, that's crazy though, because like I was thinking about that the other day, and I think that's why we were like, oh, let's talk about it on the podcast. Um, I find like I constantly reevaluating the stuff that I do. Am I in the right track? To my goals are. I'm always looking at um, the way the shop's running, the way just everything in general, even my life. Like, is everything in plan with how I want it? So it's always a constant struggle, man. It's a constant struggle because it. I feel like it eventually just. I can only control what I can, right? But there's a lot we control as business owners. So it's always a constant, what is the word? Struggle to
Yeah.
making sure that like our business is doing what we want to do. Are we making
I
enough
think it's
money?
interesting because a lot of people reevaluate when something happens.
Like a negative thing?
Yeah, like so they reevaluate as an offense. They're on offense all the time because something's happening.
You mean on defense? Like something happened and now they have to defend. They have to feel like, well,
Yeah.
shit, this happened because, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's true. Sometimes they reevaluate because I think we all sometimes get into a routine
Mm-hmm.
and we get used to that routine. And something negative happens, whether they lose a job, whether they, lose a relationship or whatever, something impactful, then that's when they reevaluate. I didn't think about it like that. I just, to be honest, like, because I asked you, before we opened up the cameras, like, what are you guys listening to right now? And I had to reanalyze myself, like, what am I listening to? I hardly ever just listen to music anymore. I listen more to like podcasts that teach me how to be a better communicator, a better branding person, a better marketer. That just consumes me right now. So that's why I'm curious to ask you guys. And then I was thinking about like, I'm always like every week I'm reevaluating, is my Instagram, is everything that I display through social and through in person with being in shop, is it up to par with what I want to portray?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, and it's constant. Like, I'm pretty sure you've seen this where sometimes I'm like, hey, Josh, let's do this. I believe in this. And then a week later, I'm like, no, fuck that. Let's not believe in that. Let's do this, right?
Every week.
And so it's just because, like, it's about testing, I think, So I don't know. I think that's the podcast today, guys. That's the topic. Should you evaluate constantly or should you just kind of like trust the process? What do you think?
I think you got to do a little bit of both. I don't think you should be reevaluating every week constantly, but I feel like you should be looking at your progress and making adjustments. You should be able to. You should. I think it's a trial like anything. You can't just make sure it works in a week. You have to test it out. Like, I mean, you're more fucking in this hypothesis kind of era theme.
Ooh, we said
mentality.
hypothesis.
Where you test out the hypothesis, see if it works, but you need at least more than a week to figure out if it works. Then from there, you can see what changed and then readjust it and then continue.
Well, I'd hate to like quote my God of all gods, the mentor icon of all time, Gary V. Shout out to Gary V. But I guess what you're trying to say is maybe like, think in think fast in little things. That's what I want to do. That's why I reevaluate during the week, because during the week I can do minor adjustments fast. But in the long project, like our year's goal or 5-year goal, I mean, that shouldn't be tweaked too much. You know what I'm saying? We eventually want to grow. But that's what I'm saying. I don't reevaluate everything and readjust my life within 1 week.
Well, do you think those goals for that, like in saying those five. Well, basically, we're looking at big goals, right? And when you're evaluating, it's basically aiming towards those goals.
Yeah.
So
Like, just imagine a plane.
yeah.
You
So
know?
those goals are your reevaluation. I feel like I'm going in circles right now.
It's a fancy word to say.
Yeah,
Just
damn.
we make changes.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, we make changes. I mean, we all should. Like, and if I just find like I need to make faster changes because, um,
You're old. No, I'm just kidding.
I am older.
A lot of people feel like that though.
No,
But I
but
feel like you don't have to be old to be making those changes.
no, I just think we don't make enough changes. Period. I think looking back at my years, I'm like, no, I think just because this is the way, I don't want to change it because I'm fear of change. You know, fear of like, it's okay to change. I used to think, oh, if I decided on this, I can't change the way I think. Now I'm happy to say, like, if we say, hey, tomorrow we're doing nothing but full day sessions in the shop for the whole month, and then the next month we're like, no, you know what, let's change it back to we can do small pieces. I'm fine with that, because it all depends on what you feel the shop should do or your job or whatever, right? That's why I say, like, I always just constantly reevaluating is always going back to the analogy, like a plane, right? Like a plane's flying at hundreds of miles per hour, right? The macro goal of that plane is go, let's say, from LA to New York. I mean, that's the end goal, right? But in between, there's a lot of minor adjustments you got to be doing. And that could be the example of during our week. There's minor adjustments. There's wind that's going to change the direction. There's another plane coming. You have to do those fast, or else what's going to happen? You're not going to get to New York. So that's why I say, like, I find myself doing that, especially because I listen to a lot of podcasts that motivate me and that are beneficial to, like, Iconic. So how we can bring in new ideas. That's why I'm always like, all right, let's evaluate, So, and that's just not just for the shop, it's just as artists. I mean, let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Quick interruption here from the podcast, guys. I know you're listening to it right now, but I just want to let you guys know, if you guys are looking for a tattoo in the Fontana area or Inland Empire, check out our website. Josh is going to tell you guys a little bit more about our website.
Yeah, so if you want to check out our website, go on iconictattoostudio.com. You can check out all the artists that we have here at the shop on there. If you want to set up an appointment with one of them, you can fill out the consultation form and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
What can we evaluate in our life? We can evaluate our business,
our personal life,
definitely our personal life, and even within our business, the relationships we have, whether it's outside or inside the shop or outside, right?
Yeah. I mean, as artists, creating those relationships and maintaining those relationships with their clients is important. So I think one way a lot of artists have changed that is that, especially like what I have been doing, is I've been trying to contact my clients after I tattoo them, where before I wouldn't do it as much.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And what do you tell them?
I reevaluate, like, so there you go, using that word again. It's the word of the day. I asked for pictures. Like, I want to know how the tattoo healed. I genuinely care how the tattoo healed up, because I know that's going to help me understand how I did. Because I can still remember within that time what I did for that tattoo. So I can go back on my notes. Okay, I use this type of needle. I use this type of rhythm when I was tattooing this area, and it healed up this way. Okay, so now I continue that.
Are you constantly reevaluating the way you tattoo?
Yeah.
How so?
I see how some techniques work on certain skin and some don't. So we've talked about it before. There's hard skin, there's soft skin, there's bouncy skin, People's skin get irritated, people don't. So I'm able to see, okay, this technique of where I go slow, and I just barely touch the skin, because on someone who has soft skin, it's gonna go in there perfect, I can't do that for someone that works construction and is outside most of the time. I have to go in harder to speed up my machine, you know. So I'm constantly changing the way I tattoo based on the person's skin. But I'm also learning tricks like, okay, this person um, can't possibly take that pain because it's going to hurt a little bit more, you know.
Yeah, I know. I just had a client that was. I made even a reel out of it. Like this, one of my young clients, because he's 20, and his first inner part of his arm, we're doing a one Pancho,
Yeah.
right? Francisco. We're doing a Egyptian theme. So on the inside, it was a breeze, man. It was easy. It was soft skin. It wasn't stretchy. It was a forearm. Then on the outside, another breeze. And then one of the few tattoos I did this week, we started shoulder and oh man, that was a headache.
You got the
It was a
extra
headache.
skin.
It was
Well,
extra
look-
skin, and there was a lot of redness and a lot of inflammation.
Yeah. Well, little backstory to that. He just recently lost like 150 pounds.
Yeah.
So he has a lot of extra skin. Again, it goes back to the skin being more of that bounciness where like the needle's just bouncing back, not really going in there. Because that same day you had it, I had the same problem with my client because he also lost a lot of weight. And it was something like I had to readjust to it. I kind of already knew because I had recently tattooed someone like that as well. So what I learned from that tattoo, I used it in this one, and it helped me get through it. We finished a lot more than I expected to finish that day.
So what tips can you give artists that are listening that have these struggles with like tough skin?
For me, I slowed down.
Slow down the machine?
I slowed down the machine and my hand movement. I let the machine hit the skin for longer areas, so it could pack in better, and then just stretch a lot. Like my fingers were hurting after that day because I was fucking stretching a lot.
Yeah.
I was using a 3-point. I was like stretch this way, and then I used my elbow to stretch this way, and then my palm to stretch that way. So I'm just kidding about the elbow, but the palm.
Did you have the apprentice helping you stretch one other side?
Yeah, should have, man.
Yeah. That's a good tip. What I realize is, if I'm gonna have complications with the skin, I'm just gonna not worry about doing full coverage. I'm just gonna worry about a smaller section that day.
Yeah,
and it's just the price we pay for the skin the skin reacts its own way. It has its own process, right? So if I get another client with tough skin, I'm just gonna be straight out like, unfortunately, I can't get more coverage than I'm used to. So we're just gonna work in a smaller area, and I'm gonna give them the option. Do you still want a full day? And we can work slower, or we can do like a half day and work in pieces. Because by the end of the day, going back to Pancho's tattoo, before he was leaving, everything calmed down, but that was like 4 hours later. The area the top part was fine, but so it just needs time to all the inflammation to go down. So that's another tip you guys can do. You don't have to necessarily pass through the whole skin and get full coverage and force it in. Just slow down and do a smaller piece instead of a big piece.
He wasn't using no numbing cream either, right?
No,
because I had a situation to.
No, he usually does it like
normal.
He's
I had a situation where when I tattooed Kevin's dad, his first tattoo, he ended up putting numbing cream in. The skin just got irritated bad. We had to let it sit as well.
Yeah, we got to find out the science of why.
Well, it's too much lidocaine.
Well, what does it do? Like, what does lidocaine do to the skin?
It tightens up the skin. I don't know exact science. I talked to Richie about it too. But when you just use too much lidocaine, it's just too much for the skin. It starts bleeding more. I don't know if you noticed that. It bleeds a lot more.
I haven't used it in a while.
No. That's why I tell my clients, don't. They come in with them, not tattooing them. That day, I had already made this appointment. It was a last minute appointment, but I had to do it that day. But other than that, like, it's not recommended.
Yeah, it's tough. Let me ask you a question. How And talk about reevaluating. How do you see the shop? Like, recently we're hiring new artists, right? We're gonna hire a new artist right pretty soon. It's gonna start this week, and we got the apprentice, towards his last end of his apprenticeship. He's getting closer, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
How do you how does reevaluating come into play with you on that
So are you talking to me as an artist, or are you talking to me as a business owner?
as
'Cause
a
I
business
think
owner?
as a business
Because
owner,
you are business owners, right?
yeah. Well, I
As a
see it
business
in
owner,
both
as
ways. I got to see it in both ways, because I got to see it as an artist because I got to see it the way the other guys see it, and I got to see it as a business owner because obviously we're both running the shop.
mm-hmm.
As an artist, I see it that it's great. We're having more talent in here that we
Mhm.
can learn from, and we could all grow together. You know, as a shop owner, I'm saying, okay, it's gonna be a lot more work because of everything we do,
Mm-hmm.
but I also see it as a good thing. Like, even though it's a lot more work, we're growing and we're building the brand the way we were thinking about it and we had planned for a while. Because if we said it before in other podcasts where we don't just let anyone come in. Obviously, we go through a thorough, I guess, interview,
Mm-hmm.
but we also, what's it called? I think the last few people we've known them prior to them coming to work with us.
I mean, it's been an organic
Yeah, it's been
type of
there you go.
meeting. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't. We didn't like
Advertise
it and said, "Harry, do you meet these qualifications?" We did an interview. It didn't happen like that. It
Mhm.
happened through, hey, organically they needed a position, and we just happened that we're growing, so organically they've been filling.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're right. You can see it in both ways. I look at it more as through the shop. Is this artist gonna add to our brand?
Mhm.
Can he provide quality service? Can these artists, new artists that are coming in, can they keep up with the high demand of customer service that we ask them to? It's gonna be interesting. We can't tell in the first week. We can't tell in the first month. It's gonna take a while till they're comfortable. So we gotta constantly evaluate: are we set up for it? Are the other artists gonna welcome these artists in? These new artists coming in. Is the aesthetics, the setup of the shop gonna work well? Because we were used to having all this kinds of room in the new shop.
Mhm.
Like fucking 20 by 20 space. Now, guess what? It's shrinking, and we had told the artists, don't get used to this space. It's beautiful right now having all this space, but when we get more artists in, it's gonna start shrinking to a certain extent. We're not gonna be all fucking sardined in here.
Oh, we're putting people in the middle. I'm just
No,
kidding.
this is the middle right here, huh? But we also got to consider that.
Yeah.
We got to have conversations with our artists and like, hey, so and so's gonna come in. How do you guys feel about that? Most of them they're not gonna care, but we have to consider them because
Yeah.
we can't just do what do you call it, a tap factory.
Yeah.
So something to consider. And then as an artist, yeah, I'm excited to, see new work coming with different approach,
Different
perspective, and I'm excited to look around. Like on a week ago, right, with Camilo.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a week ago?
Yeah.
It looked cool. All the whole shop was busy. There was
Mhm.
plenty of artists. There's probably a total of 8 of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or 7, 8.
8.
I'm bad at math, but it was full. There was a vibe, and there was always constant work. Because it's not as fun when you just one or two tattoo artists tattooing, and then it just becomes like a little separated tattoo shop. So there's a lot to play with it. And also too, we gotta like. I'm constantly evaluating my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
Am I being? I'm a father. I'm a husband. And I'm 42, so I'm a 42-year-old man. At 42, what do I care about? You know what I'm saying? And right now, my son wants to play basketball. He wants to play soccer. I gotta go keep up with him. So I gotta constantly evaluate my fitness. Am I gonna be ready to play with him? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I reevaluated that I'm not. So I gotta constantly like get back onto the gym. I worked out prior to today to the podcast, but it's always constantly reevaluating how better can you get,
Mhm.
right?
For the best. I mean, like you said, it's um, I feel like you're adapting to the new situations that are bouncing into your life.
Yeah,
Like he's
that's true.
finally old enough to want to do these things, so now you have to readjust yourself to be able to handle them.
Yeah, and I saw it coming. I
Yeah.
saw it coming when he started to play sports, and I was like, okay, well, if he wants to play sports, I can't be tattooing 5 days a week, 7 days a week. I have to reduce my time tattooing. So I managed to do that, but then I gotta constantly reevaluate. Well, am I making enough to cover all my costs? So I gotta constantly reevaluate. Am I charging enough to do that? Am I affording this luxury of not tattooing as much? Because I do want to be there for my son. I always said, I wanted to be there from 10 to 15. I want to be there if he wants to do sports, and he just turned 10 last 2 weeks ago. So that's why I'm always, I guess probably that's why I'm always evaluating my setup for this and my setup for this, and it's even if it's minor changes. So it's hard, man. It's a struggle. It's not stressful. I don't find it stressed, but it's not easy to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think we all do that mentally. We all try to adjust our lives accordingly to any new thing that comes up. We just don't talk about it. It's just in our mind we're doing it, but we're just not expressing it.
Well, some people think about doing it, but they never do it.
Well,
You know what I mean? I feel like for those people that are never doing it, I feel like if you just take one step at it, it continues. It's like a dominoes effect. Like you do one thing out of it, then the next thing comes out. Then you do that
yeah.
and continue.
A lot. I just stopped thinking what other people do. I just do me.
Mhm.
If I know that I have to work more, I work more. If I know I have to do more projects, I do more projects. I just reevaluate myself and get it to where I'm happy at, and from there on we move on. Because why aren't we looking back at what we do and always adjusting? Like life is about changes, right? We change every part of our life within weeks, months, years. We should be adjusting. If I'm not changing in my life, I'm gonna get worried, because then isn't that life? Life is about change.
Yeah, then you become stagnant. You become stagnant, then later on, you end up being that 60-year-old regretting things. Do you remember Miami Ink? Well, guess what?
Well, this is not it.
Yeah, but we got something almost as good. Check out our vlog, a day in the life in the studio, the iconic TV on YouTube.
That's right. The segment is called Shop Life, guys. This is where we show behind the scenes of how we tattoo our clients, how we just hang out and just, have a good time. So if you want to check it out, go check it out on Iconic TV on YouTube, guys. We upload every Thursday, so check it out. And let's talk about like the culture of the studio, Like, how do you see it?
Ooh, I just got goosebumps. Honestly, bro, like I feel like from when we first started the shop, I feel like the culture has changed little by little every year. The way we run things, the way I think every artist that comes in has changed it a little bit more. I feel the way we could change it even more, though, that we haven't really focused on is creating more of a team experience, having more team events. I know we have planned it and then things changed because not everyone's showing up, but I feel like now I've been looking at this more in a aspect like, what if we just do the events and whoever shows up, you
Right.
know? I think we need that more. Like bigger companies obviously have team retreats, have this and that, have events, team events. I feel like we need to bring that in more to have the artists not just hang out when they're working, but hang out outside of work.
Because people loosen up when we're out there.
Exactly.
I like that idea. Cool. Handle it.
there you
That's your project.
go.
No, it's true. I mean, maybe that's why that's part of evaluating what we do. You know, we haven't had too much um, out of the work experience events. You know,
Yeah.
where we can be relaxed and we're not stressed about the client being here. We can say, well, you know, we can talk to each other in certain ways without, you know, being too professional. I mean, you know, little things when the client's around, you know, we keep it a little bit more professional.
Like recently, we did a. I'm well. I'm still trying to do more paint nights here. We haven't had it in a while. I think since last month, just because we've been really busy. But after that paint night we had last time, me and Romeo and Brian ended up going bowling. You know, that was pretty
Oh
cool.
yeah, the time that you guys left after I just left, right? So you guys ditched me.
You left, bro. You left.
It was planned. You guys let me go.
Yeah, like that day, like
And
I
that
said,
helped out.
paint night. Like for me, I don't really expect everyone to show up. I invite everyone here, and excuse me, I'm trying to open it up to more artists around the area to want to come in and paint with us. We've had where I invited Richie, he couldn't make it. I invited some of the girls that go paint with us over there in San Pedro. They're trying to make it, but they couldn't make it that day. So I want to invite more people in to experience the shop, see the culture in here, and then from there make it a more thing, like a bigger thing. But it starts with the team as well.
Yeah. No, that'll be dope. I think you just gotta be like, say, you know, Monday nights is paint night,
Yeah,
and you're here regardless if you're the only one
yeah.
or somebody else, and then eventually they're gonna be like, well, he's consistent. Let's do that.
I,
That would help. That would help with the.
Yeah, and I think it's just having Brian's been asking me to do it again, and it's just again we've been really busy on Mondays, where we stay here till like 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. working.
9 a.m.
Like, 9 p.m. working, but I think we got to just set it on the calendar, and that's one thing that I really need to get on and just be on the calendar and set up these events.
That's a good idea.
Oh.
What about like this conversation started with like me reevaluating like even our social media? No, are we showing what we're really about? You know, do you ever find yourself evaluating your Instagram page?
Yes.
How so?
How do I want to be perceived as on the page? And I've jumped different avenues just because of, like you said, you're listening to different podcasts. Right now, I feel like I'm more on the, I'll say, mental health kind of drive, but also like, it's, I don't know how to say it, more the mental health, but more like motivational kind of thing.
Like what's some of the podcasts you listen to that like, mental health?
Mental health would be more of the what's his name? You know him, Carlos. You listen to him too. He used to be a monk.
Google him.
There you go.
Jay Shetty. What's it about?
It's about mental health mostly. Was it? He just had a new one. I can't recall it, but anyways,
find it while I talk about mine.
And then Bedros too.
Pedro's his thing is more about mental health being like the alpha male, right?
Yes and no. His is more about, so his old podcast was all about business, right?
Yeah.
So now
the Empire.
That was the Empire one.
Empire
now
podcast.
His new podcast is mostly about mental health and physical health, and you as a man growing that part of your life to help your other part of your life, which is your business.
It all stems from your health, your mental health.
Yes. What are yours?
I don't go in that deep. I just look at my Instagram. Like, my question to myself, I ask myself is, when somebody jumps into my Instagram, are they getting the information that I want them to, right away within the first minute or the first 10 seconds. Not a minute, in the first 10 seconds. Like, for instance, as soon as they've never heard of me, and then maybe they see a reel or something, they click it and they say, who is this? I want, in the first 10 seconds, I want them to know who I am, what I'm about. Because attention span, we all know, is real small, right? Like especially find yourself looking at somebody new. Do you ever even read the bio? You know, maybe if you're really super interested, but rarely, right? So that's why I'm trying to make my bio like fast and easy to understand. I'm a tattoo artist. I'm a father. I love business. Boom. Here's my stuff.
What are you trying to show?
What I just said. You know, I'm trying to show I'm a tattoo artist. I had a picture with my kids in there, me and my kids. But then I was like, if evaluating that, you know, as like we were talking about earlier, and I'm like, well, it's gonna be confusing because my head's all the way in the bottom. It's so small, and then we got my family, which is cool. I want to show my family, but I don't feel like in the profile picture it should be me and my family. I am a family man, and the pictures will be in my feed or one on my story. But ultimately, it's a profile page about me, so I put up a picture of me tattooing, and the picture is bigger. So now, boom, there's my face. People are gonna see it, and then on the, you know how you have your username where they find you, but then below it, that you have your like caption name. I just put my name there, Ricardo Gonzalez. So now, that's my government name.
It's not Richard.
And I have no, it's not Richard, but I have my username, and then what I'm about. So right away, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but we'll see. You know, this has barely happened yesterday. I redid this while I was on the East, before I went to my Easter party, before I got drunk.
I was about to say, were you drunk?
I wasn't there, like, reevaluate, you know? So I changed that, and because now I guess you can click on the profile picture, and when you click on your profile picture of somebody's, it shoots up, you know? So I'm like, cool, people are going to be doing that. It's going to go up. Boom, you want to portray what you want to portray fast, you know what I'm saying? And then going a deeper dive into my profile, I want them to show, you know, clearly I don't want to show that I'm just a regular tattoo artist. I want to show that I do premium tattoos. What does that mean? That means that I dedicate myself in doing full sleeves. I love doing full sleeves. And I like to challenge myself and do like cover up. So my profile is going to show my sleeves and the cover ups right away, so that people can understand that's what I do. And I think the reason why I do that is so that I can instantly show the clients what is my specialty.
Are you going to be putting pictures or just reels again? That's one thing I've been reevaluating, because honestly,
That's a
like
good
we
question.
talked about it last time, I get annoyed trying to go through a video when I just want to see the tattoo.
Yeah.
So what I've been thinking is, now that I post a reel, right after I'm going to post a picture.
Yeah. That's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Because you get annoyed, so obviously other people might perceive that. So yeah, I'm going to start putting more pictures, maybe more carousels as pictures, you know, like the process. So I think we got to do that, man. We have to reevaluate. We can't just, if you haven't modified your Instagram page in over a month, it's way too long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's ever changing. So why aren't we always changing it to meet those needs? And Instagram's always doing new updates, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one tip that I learned from Ryan Pineda. Again, I listen to him because he's all about marketing and content creating. So I'm curious to see how that goes, you know? Yeah.
So what do you say someone that wants to make a change but is scared to?
You know what? I went through that too. I was like, what part did I was? Oh, and in my feed, you know, there was a bunch of reels that I did, you know, and they didn't get too much attention, but they're there. And I'm like, should I hide them? You know, because you can hide them and they go back to your reels, and then you just control that page. And I was like, oh, but if I hide them, then it's not going to show my true self. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to my thesis. What do I want to portray in the first 10 minutes? And if there's a reel there that I'm being dorky, because I'm just, telling a reel like the one that I did about like skin reacting, that doesn't portray the whole brand of that I want to be exclusive to full sleeves and cover-ups.
Yeah.
So I removed that. It's still in my profile. If they click on the reels category, it'll still be there, but it's not. It's hidden from the main profile when people look in.
Your aesthetics.
So yeah, you go through those challenges and you go through those like self-reflecting, like, oh shoot, I don't want to do this because it might look this way. But at the end of the day, what do you want to portray? That's the advice I would give. At the end of the day, does it go with what you want to portray?
And again, it doesn't. You don't have to not post it just because you don't want to portray that. You could post it and just hide it again. I got that one from what's her face? Reese. Yeah, she talked about it. Like, don't be afraid not to post it just because you don't want it to be shown on your page.
Do you think artists look at their profile page and say, what do I want to portray from the first 10 seconds? Do you ever think artists ask that question?
Not as many as they should. Not as many people as it should be.
What do you think, Carlos? You falling asleep over there? He's on his phone like this. Hey, wait, pay attention on the switchboards, bro.
At least he's not eating.
I know. Like, let's ask you, Carlos. Do you ever like reflect? Do you ever look at your profile, your Instagram page, and say, is my message told in the first 10 seconds?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Fucking yeah.
Like, yeah. Huh?
You know what?
Well, thanks for that elaborate discussion.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident about like what I'm offering. So what I show is what I am. So
go ahead.
I feel like Carlos, I want to see more of your personal side on your page. Talking about that, like I want to see you doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, well, I have a personal page and then I have my Anchor Mind projects page.
No.
So
I mean, on your Anchor Minds project.
no,
Come on,
I can't.
come on.
Because I've gotten too far now with the business that now it's a business. It's not a personal thing anymore. I did in the past when it was like just like when I was like smaller, but like now that I'm in a different place, I can't. I've thought of showing more of my face though.
Yeah.
Remember
like doing more of my own like face stuff, like everyday stuff, which I'm already considering now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just pulling the trigger.
I mean, you got to respect everybody's approach, right? I just look at myself and I said, again, because I ran in through some new people and they were like, oh, let me check out your page, It wasn't on Saturday. I think we were outside and we were in a restaurant. And I told them I was a tattoo artist. And I was like, oh, follow me,
Mm-hmm.
And right away they searched me and they clicked on it. So that got me thinking, okay, so when they click it and it opens up, am I conveying what I want to convey? Am I telling the artist right away what I'm about? So that's why I'm always analyzing, is it the best way? The way I have it, is it the best way? Do I need to make changes?
Are you ever going to go into deeper where you're planning out your content?
I haven't figured that out yet.
So,
I feel like I don't know how to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just seems like a lot of unnecessary, or maybe it is good, but I don't know. Have
From
you done
what
it?
I've seen it, I was doing it at first, but then I just stopped. But that's
Why'd
the
you
thing, like you have
stop?
to be consistent. I wasn't
It's
consistent.
a lot of
Yeah.
work, huh?
Well, it's a lot of work in the beginning, but once you have it planned out, where like Carlos even brought it out to us, where you have it planned out for at least a month, you already know what you're gonna post for that week. So say you're gonna target this week about inspiration, right? So this week it's all gonna be posts on this about inspiration and shit, and then that already automatically posts up. Now next week it's gonna be about like tips and tricks, Again, it's a lot of work in the beginning, but your month's already set. It's like meal prepping.
I mean, I don't know how to do it, but I've came across some people that said you should plan your stuff out, and I guess what that eliminates is not being consistent. Because if you did plan out for a week and you said, okay, on Monday I'm gonna post this, Tuesday I'm gonna post this, then you already have a plan. You just post them.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just lazy.
I mean, it goes back like I just thought about that, but that's exactly the same thing with like meal preps. You prep it all one day, and then you have it set
And
for the
you
rest
don't
of the
have to
week.
think and
Yeah,
there's even apps that can post it for you on a Tuesday at
yeah,
4 o'clock, huh?
yeah.
I mean, with that content, I don't. Well, like I said, we're going back to like, what does your first 10
Mm-hmm.
seconds say about what does your Instagram say about you in the first 10 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a good topic for this. Then maybe that should be the title for the thumbnail. You know, because like I said, look back when you get introduced to somebody and you click their page. You give it 10 seconds at best, and if it doesn't intrigue you, then you move on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 15 seconds, maybe 30 seconds. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, scroll on YouTube and the thumbnails, bro. What thumbnail catches your eye that you're gonna click it? Is it the caption, or is it the picture, or is it both, or is it that you're specifically looking for
I think for me,
an
it's the
idea?
caption.
The caption.
Yeah, I don't really care about the thumbnail. It's more about what the title is.
See, today in the morning, I was looking at the new Chevy Colorados
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know how I came up on my GMC sponsor. I did a sponsor ad, and it shot it to me, and I'm like, oh, these are cool. So I went on YouTube to check, and there's always a guy that I follow called Rady's Rides. But then I looked and I was scrolling, and I didn't even care about the caption and that. So I guess that depends on what you're looking for. I was looking for the best picture, that the video that can show the truck the best, and it was like a lime green color, but it was pretty dope. It was in a countryside, and it had a little bit of mud on it already. I was like, this is the one I want to see, not the one in the showroom, because it's all perfect lighting, you know? So for me, it was the thumbnail. But I guess if I'm searching for like mindset type of things, maybe the caption matters, you know? I originally went into looking at it, and I'm like, why aren't we changing this every so often? Like, it shouldn't be stagnant. It should be trying different things, you know, metrics, and then see how that works. Because now that we're getting new artists, and, you know, I think it's important that we check on how it looks when we open it up on mobile, and see if it conveys exactly what our clients want to see right away, you know? So it's always reevaluating, dude. This is a constant task that, as a business owner, should consider doing, because it's always changing. It's always evolving. It's ever changing. Even this podcast, even today, what were we doing? You know, I looked at some of the blogs and some of the clips, and I'm like, what if I ask Carlos to just, you know, tilt the camera a little higher, get it more, and show more of the aesthetic of the shop instead of just zooming in into the face. And we did that today, and he was like, oh, looks pretty cool. So by considering every aspect of all the stuff that we do, it'll make the brand better, and will convey our message better, you know? That was an adjustment, you know? So I'm always listening to us. What do we say? Another thing that we say on the podcast, like, let's learn. And I think that today we did a really good job at it. We didn't interrupt each other. But sometimes when we first started, we would interrupt each other, you know, because nobody ever taught us, hey, when you're on a podcast, don't interrupt each other or whatever. I mean, I still see podcasts going on and they interrupt each other, you know. It's going to happen, you know, but we work at it, and we're conscious of it, and we become better, you know. And the blog, what were you going to say?
No, I should be like, you know?
You know? Did I say a lot of you knows right now?
Yeah.
Fuck. And the
See,
blog.
that's another thing we're working on, though. Like, we tell each other when we're like constantly repeating words to try to readjust how we talk on the podcast.
Yeah. And even in the vlog, we got the new media guy, Adrian, and he's filming us, and obviously his artistic perspective of filming is different than Carlos's, and that's ever constantly changing. And we're like, all right, dude, lower the music here, you know, change this lighting, you know. Even in the recent cuts for our podcast, I asked Carlos, hey, let's try not putting any music behind them. What do you think, Carlos? Was that a success, or it's different?
I think lowering the music.
No music is no good?
I think lowering the music, because I was looking at that clip I did with introducing the for guest artists.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, fuck, maybe we should have like some kind of music behind it, because sometimes when I'm listening to, but not like hip hop music or anything like that, more like a
Instrumental.
instrumental.
And that was a clip for YouTube
No, that was a clip for just
and Instagram.
Instagram.
No, I'm talking about the stories on YouTube, the
Oh, okay.
shorts. That's what I was talking about. Because some of them were like, so I'm listening to them, right? And I'm like, I'm trying to hear what we're saying, and then some of the music is a little
Too loud.
too loud.
Yeah,
Maybe let's just keep it with no.
just I think instrumentals like
It's
lower,
just changing it. Let's
yeah.
try different. But however, there was one where Carlos put it and he used the right music. It was like a hip hop song, I forgot, and it was like it went with it, even the voice. So we always got to be constantly looking and changing stuff, you know? You have to. I go back to like, if you don't change your Instagram or your brand, whatever consists of your brand, if you're not constantly changing it, I'm pretty sure everybody is. They're just not consciously saying, I'm evaluating my business today. You know? It's just, I got to do something different. What haven't I changed on my page? Oh, let me change this. You know? Your bio should change every once in a while, you know? Maybe put, Fontana tattoo artist out there and try that. And then another one put, you know, X amount of years experience, remove that. See, so people could see it, because you never know what person is looking at your page, you know? And you never know what attract them to you. You might get a client that likes off-roading, you should put your Jeep right there on one of them. That would be dope. You haven't put that sucker on in a minute. People don't even know you have a Jeep.
I draw a fishbowl.
Now you draw a fishbowl. We don't want to talk about that. So we should always constantly evaluate, guys. That's just one of the tips. We evaluate this podcast all the time. We talk about it here. What should we do better? Everything that encompasses iconic, we're always evaluating. That's just part of being business owners.
Not just that, we just recently had where one of the artists was evaluating us, how we do things too. We had a meeting with
What are you talking about?
with Johnny, and he had notes for us to reevaluate things
You putting
too.
Johnny on blast right now?
Huh?
You putting Johnny on
No,
blast?
it's not a bad thing. I mean, it's
No, he didn't say nothing bad, but
he thinks there's things that we could work on, and we appreciate him doing that. Looking at that so we can readjust things. You know what I mean? Sometimes we get so tunnel vision that we don't see things that other people might see.
Yeah. No, that was cool, him bringing some notes to the meeting.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's the name of the game. Reevaluate. But what is the proper word for that? Let me Google it.
Reevaluate,
Synonyms for reevaluate.
rethink, readjust.
Yeah, rethink. Boom. Rethink the things you do, because just because we did, think about it. When we had set up something a year ago, we're not that same people that we were a year ago.
Yeah.
We think different now. We learn more experiences. We probably added more people to our crew. We added new machines. We added new inks. We added new thoughts. Why do we have the same branding from a year ago? That's what I'm saying. It should change. Maybe not necessarily. That's to everybody's prerogative of when to change it, right? But I made a goal of trying to do it every week, adjusting, and even if I don't adjust anything, make sure that it's still the information I have on my social media correlates with what I'm trying to perceive. So if I have clients coming in asking for small tattoos, then clearly I'm not doing my job on my Instagram or my Facebook or my web or the website, because I don't want to do those small tattoos. And nowhere on there did it say I do small tattoos. So if I'm still getting those, it's because I'm not conveying that, So yeah, man, these are some tips that we as artists and shop owners always have in our mind. Hope it helps out people listening. You gotta change. You gotta change and accept the changes. And we gave you some examples of how we think about our situation in the shop, in the studio, as the positions we have. And hopefully you guys can analyze yourselves and change.
Change is not always bad.
Change is good.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
So with that, we out, guys. Thank you for the support. Share this to somebody you think would like to hear this message. We out.
Later.